Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 19. I am in bed again. I'm pretty sure. Is this how I started the last vlog? I can't even remember. Sorry, the focus might go in and out because I've kind of got low light in the bedroom. Hello, and welcome to a new vlog. It is very late. We are in bed, aren't we, Yogi? This time it's intentional. And that is because tomorrow I am going to be doing a 24-hour readathon. So I wanted this to be like a 24-hour readathon vlog. So I knew I wasn't going to really be vlogging today much, but I still wanted to vlog a bit because I've vlogged every day in Vlogmas. So if you're brand new, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. My last 24-hour readathon is actually one of my most popular recent videos, so if you like this sort of thing, I'd love if you to consider sticking around and clicking the subscribe button. So it is Saturday night. Everything hasn't gone to plan really in terms of getting ready for this readathon, because last time I finished work, I had something to eat, and I went to bed at like 5-6 o'clock in the evening and then got up at midnight and did midnight to midnight. It's currently 11:15, so obviously I'm not doing that. Hold on, I'm just gonna upload this to YouTube. 1 second. Start uploading it to YouTube, sorry. Upload. Come on. Stop being annoying. This is probably really attractive. Okay. So I was waiting for it to export so I could start uploading it. That is the reason. That is the reason I'm not in bed already. I did have to do some work today. Yesterday was supposed to be my last working day, but some things took a little bit longer than I had hoped, so I decided to sacrifice half of my Saturday so then I could have a clean break over Christmas. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up at my normal time, which is about 5 AM. So obviously that's kind of 5 hours into the day. But a lot of 24-hour readathons that I've watched, people do actually sleep during them. It's just that I chose not to do that last time. So what I'll do is I'll get up at my normal time, 5, so I'll still be getting slightly shorter amount of sleep, and I'll go through till midnight still. So I'll be awake for 19 hours of the 24. So that's the only possible way I'm going to be able to do it this time. I'm really excited for it because I really want it to be cozy and festive. I'm going to be reading like the Christmas books that are on my TBR, and there's a few things that I want to do tomorrow. So I thought just because I've got to wait for this video anyway, and I did want to do a little bit of vlogging tonight, I thought we would just have a chat about the readathon and what I'm planning to do and stuff. So there's 5 potential books that I could read / start tomorrow, and those are the 2 Karen Swan books. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I do have a video of my December reading list. So I've got the 2 Karen Swan books, which are kind of like Christmas romance, kind of chick lit sort of vibe with beautiful covers. So there's 2 of those. I've got Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, which I definitely want to read tomorrow. I definitely want to do that. There's the Snow Queen in my Hans Christian Andersen anthology, which I know isn't specifically Christmas, but it's like one of the most wintry ones I've got on my list. So there's that, and there's also Frostheart again, which isn't specifically a Christmas book, but I feel like it's a festive feels type book. So festive cozy feels. So those are the 5 sort of options I've got. I will be relying a little bit more on audiobook this time, because that's what I learnt from last time, is I could have made much more progress if I'd have got audiobooks for some of them. So the times when I was actually doing something else, like cooking or whatever, I could still make progress on my books via audiobook, which is something I didn't do last time. And yeah, I just want to have, I want to like get some stuff done, but I want to have a really nice, cozy reading day as well as. So I think it can be done, especially if I get a lot of what I want to do done as first thing when I get up, because Liam will either be in bed, because he doesn't get up at 5, or he'll just be going to bed depending on if he's stayed up gaming. Because he was definitely still up the last time I did a readathon, so a 24-hour one. So I think that's all I've kind of got to say on that. So again, welcome. I hope you enjoy this kind of cozy vlog. I've just got to finish getting this video. Oh, but it still says it's got another 20 minutes to upload. Rogies was just so ready for bed. We're going to get as good a night's sleep as we can, and we'll see you in the morning for a festive 24-hour readathon. Good night. Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 20. Hello, good morning. It is, well, it's now like 10 to 6, but good morning. Welcome to this portion of the vlog. I've had 5 hours sleep and I look like it. So I've made myself a big old gingerbread latte. So I'm really tired. So I've got my stack of books. These are these ones. And then in this one we've got the Snow Queen. So I'm just kind of having my coffee and I need to look on Audible, see what I can get of this book stack on Audible. I just want to go on and get my turnips because Daisy May does arrive from 5 a.m. and I just want to have my coffee, so I'm probably gonna just stick a vlog on or something just while I wake up properly and have my coffee. As you can hear, I'm a little bit raspy this morning. Oh, I need to put put an end screen and everything on the video from last night because it was just taking so long to upload. And but I'd done the thumbnail and everything. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to leave it uploading and go to bed because I can't wait for you anymore. So I uploaded fine, luckily. But I was getting to the point where I was like ready to fall asleep, so I just set it to public and then left it uploading. Good morning, and I will catch up with you when there's something to catch up on.
Christmas lights fill the city. There are people everywhere. The snow is falling white and pretty as I stroll on my way to you. How will you feel about packing up today? Leave this all behind. Go get snowed in somewhere, you and me. I would rather be somewhere with you, without TV or phone. Is it wrong for me to want you for my own? This Christmas, let the others miss us. Let's go get snowed in. Let's go get snowed in. How wrong could that be? Being snowed in somewhere, you and me.
Hi, I have finished The Snow Queen, which is a story within this fairy tales anthology. It's about 10 o'clock now, which I know seems like a long time, seeing as it was only a short story. How long was it? It was like 40 pages in this large book, and the writing is actually kind of standard size. Which I know doesn't seem like I've read a lot in the time, but I had coffee and some breakfast to start with, as I said before, and checked in on Animal Crossing and bought my turnips, and then I read for a bit, and then I took the dogs out and gave them their breakfast and everything, and then I had some breakfast. So considering all that, I'm really happy to have finished something, and that's one thing I'll say about doing a 24-hour readathon, if you're ever going to do one, is put something short like that and hope it doesn't look short. But the book or story itself was short. Put something short on your like TBR for the 24-hour readathon, because it's so great to finish something like so early on in the readathon. Gives you that sense of achievement and boosts your kind of motivation for the rest of the readathon. So, quickly talk about it. Many of you will probably know a fair bit about the Snow Queen, I would imagine, because there's been lots of TV and film adaptations over the years. Things like Frozen, kind of loosely based on that whole idea. I don't know who came first, but I feel like The Witch in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe that's worth knowing, actually. Snow Queen was written 1844, I think. It was first published 21st of December 1844 in New Fairy Tales. If you're not familiar basically the Snow Queen is, it starts off with this kind of mythological story about this demon and his group of hobgoblins that create this mirror, and everything that is reflected in this mirror is distorted negatively. So something that is beautiful appears ugly, something that is nice is mean, you know, that sort of thing. And there's one description of a beautiful landscape looking like boiled spinach in the mirror, things like that. This group of like hobgoblins go around the earth, frolicking and having fun with this mirror and making everything distorted and everything. And they decide that they're going to fly to the heavens and mock the angels with this mirror. Whilst they're doing so, they either, I know I've only just read it, but they either drop the mirror or the mirror gets too overwhelmed with the reflection that it shatters into thousands of pieces that fall across the earth. But some of the shards and bits of glass are no bigger than a grain of sand, and it is revealed right at the beginning that some of these ended up in people's eyes and hearts. And then we meet Gerda and Kay, which are the kind of main protagonists. Kay is a boy, Gerda's a girl, and they are not siblings, but you'd be forgiven for thinking that they are because they're so close. And they live in the attic spaces of these two houses right next to each other with, there's a grandmother mentioned. I don't know whose grandmother it is. I'm sure it said. And there's roses growing on the front of the house and between the balconies, and they kind of both jump across the balconies to see each other all the time and stuff. So they're like real childhood friends. One of the grandmothers, I forget whose grandmother it is, tells the story of white bees. And because the kids are aware of like normal bees, they ask if there's a queen bee, and she says that there is, and she never touches the ground. She always flies within the most dense part of the swarm. And so, and then they start referring to this bee as the Snow Queen. There's two incidents happen. The first is that Kay is just suddenly exclaims in the middle of nowhere, and there's no build up. A lot of the things that happen, because it's such a short story, are just dealt with like straight away in the moment. Like there's no kind of war and peace. It's just, it is what it is. And he just exclaims at some point that something has struck his heart and he's got something in his eye, which we, as a reader, you know from earlier on, is going to be parts of the mirror. And so the obstacle is just put forward straight away. And then there's also an incident, which again I can't remember which way around these were, where he's in his room getting ready for bed or whatever, and he notices a figure on his windowsill, and it's a figure made completely of like ice and snow, and she's waving at him and stuff, which obviously this is going to be the Snow Queen, isn't it? And after this whole thing happens where he gets it in his eye, he instantly starts being horrible to Gerda, which obviously as a reader you've come to expect because of the previous like myth, kind of mythological thing from the beginning. And there's this thing where the local boys go out on their sleds and they tie their sleds to other vehicles to be sort of taken around, and Kay goes out with his sled after being horrible to Gerda and destroying some of the roses, ties his sled to this vehicle, which happens to be this magnificent white sleigh. When he actually realises who it is, it's too late. She keeps looking back at him and nodding at him as if they know each other, because obviously there's been this previous interaction between them. And she takes him into blistering snow and this really, really kind of barren, snowy, wintry, cold, icy. The atmosphere is good for that part. Like it really describes well the kind of really cold and icy atmosphere she takes him into, and he's obviously frozen. And there's a whole bit where she kisses him on the forehead and he just suddenly doesn't feel cold anymore. So basically she's kidnapped him. One thing I will say about this story is because it's so short, things just snap one to the other, and like things are very quickly accepted. Like it cuts back to the hometown and everyone's just kind of accepted that he's dead. Like he's obviously gone out into the snow and he's died of exposure or something, and it's just accepted, you know. It's like there's no whole bit where it may be like a modern story of this sort of kind. There's no like search party gets arranged for this lost child in the snow. Like it's just like, oh, he's probably dead, you know, like. So Gerd is obviously really upset and wants to go looking for him. There's a little bit of religious kind of through line in it. There's a bit of a focus on prayer and things like that, and like she's praying to the sun and everything and asking them for guidance and if they've seen Kay. And so she decides that she's going to take her most prized possessions, which are her red shoes, and throw them into the river in the hope that the river will tell her where Kay is. Anyway, to cut a long story short, she ends up in a boat and is taken downstream. She can't stop it. And so basically this begins her journey to finding Kay. At no point does it cut back to the grandmother who, you know, may be wondering where these children are and sending out a search party. And she comes to this house, which the description of it is very Hansel and Gretel-like, which I know is the Grimm brothers. And there's this woman there who's a witch, and she helps Greta, and she decides she wants to keep Greta. There's a lot of child kidnap in this, to be quite honest. She decides she wants, not Greta, sorry. She wants to keep Gerda, so she brushes her hair, and as she does it, she kind of takes away her memories of Kay, and she makes all the roses disappear, because roses remind Gerda of Kay, and she's there for a length of time, which is not necessarily determined. But the one rose that she forgets to get rid of is the one on her hat. And one day, Gerda notices it, her memories come back, she carries on her journey, and she ends up going through Lapland and Finnmark, as they call it, and she meets two other women who kind of assist her and help her. She meets a crow who alludes to the fact that Kay may be betrothed to this princess, so there's this whole almost like a heist to try and like sneak into this palace, and when she gets there she thinks it's going to be him, but it's not. It's the prince. So they help her as well, send her out with warm clothes and a carriage and stuff, and like a footman, a driver and everything, and then they get attacked by a group of robbers. And it's in this part there's a slightly problematic bit for me, which is the footman and the driver and stuff get killed by these robbers, and she's about to get killed by this woman robber, but the robber's daughter, who is referred to as only the little robber girl, I don't recall her name coming up, she stops her mother basically from killing her because she wants to keep Gerda as her playmate, and she wants her fancy clothes and everything. And the description of her is that she just has broader shoulders and darker skin. So yeah, I found that a bit problematic, especially given that it's a group of robbers, so dangerous. This girl isn't particularly. She ends up helping her in the end, but she keeps this reindeer hostage and threatens it with a knife every night. And yeah, it's just and it's not that obviously a variety of different humans could play these sorts of characters and be these sorts of characters. It's the fact that pretty much the only description of her is that she's got darker skin, which is a problem for me. Gerda ends up telling her the story of Kay and what's happened, and this girl ends up untying the reindeer and letting her go. So I think this is when she goes to Lapland and then on to Finnmark. She manages to, through trial and obstacle and cold and, you know, whatever, she manages to find Kay, and the Snow Queen has just gone off to do something. So she's just not there. The threat isn't there. So Gerda finds Kay, and it's that whole thing of, you know, the warmth of love thaws his heart, and, you know, he recognises her. So he cries, which then he cries out the piece of glass from his eye and all of that. And it alludes to the fact that the Snow Queen is giving him some sort of riddle or puzzle that he has to discover a word or something, and then he can be his own master. But it doesn't really actually develop any of that or explain any of that. It's like it's just like, okay, this is this random thing thrown in. And there's no conflict with the Snow Queen. There's no kind of confrontation. Like, she doesn't try to stop Gerda. She doesn't get back just in time to try and fight Gerda for Kay or anything like that. She just saves him, and then they go back via the same route that she came. So they go and visit the women in Finnmark and Lapland, and they bump into the little robber girl and whatever, and then they're just home, and it's all good. Grandmother's happy to see them after apparently not looking for them. Yeah, it's a really basic story, and you can see why the adaptations have had so much kind of creative room, because it's one of those stories that's got loads of room for interpretation and embellishment and stuff. There's so many ways you could go with it, and it sort of reminds me of, like, if I'd have handed that in as like a short story for like university or something, I'd have probably got it handed back like, it's good, there's a good concept there and there is a story there, but you might want to go back and fill out some of the some of the parts, you know what I mean? It was a fairly easy read considering that it's a classic. There was a few uses of like words that aren't really used now, but it wasn't so dense that it was really hard to follow. There was one bit where she's talking to the flowers in the garden once she's got her memories back, and each of the flowers gives like a riddle. That bit was a bit mind-boggling. But apart from that, yeah, it's everything I expected. And honestly, I prefer the adaptations, you know, just because there's so much that you're not given in this, that I think it really translates well to TV and film, where you can really, really play up on that atmosphere and make more of the Snow Queen. Because like I said, like, it's called the Snow Queen, yet you hardly see her. The story is actually of Gerda's journey to save her friend. Anyway, so one down, only about 40 pages, and I've been talking for like another half an hour, so I'm gonna have my coffee and some Lövkuchen. I think I'm still pronouncing that right after I looked it up for my video yesterday. Lövkuchen. and then on to something else. I think I'm going to save A Christmas Carol for this evening. I don't know, I feel like reading A Christmas Carol. I don't want to leave it too late because this is very tiny text, so it is a short story, but so I think it's 66 pages, but it's tiny writing. So I would say with standard size text that would probably be double that, so it would probably be about 120 pages in a kind of normal size font book. So I'm going to save that for a bit later because I feel like in the evening reading A Christmas Carol will be good. Yeah, because I realised I didn't actually go through what I decided. So I had these two, and I knew I wasn't going to read both, but I wanted to read one of them. I've gone for Christmas at Tiffany's just because it's a slightly longer one, and I've got the audiobook on Audible, so if I want to do any bits and pieces today, I can just throw that on. And I've got Frostheart, which I also got the audiobook for as well. So I'll be going on to one of these two next. I haven't decided yet. So I did get the audiobook for this, but because it's got so many beautiful illustrations in it, I do want to physically read a fair bit of this, even if it's reading along with the audiobook, but we shall see. So I'm going to go before this clip gets too long. I was afraid of that with talking about the Snow Queen because it's such a short story. I'm going to end up just retelling the whole story because it's so short. So I'm going to go have my coffee. I'm going to check in on Animal Crossing a little bit and kind of figure out what I want to do next.
Everyone's waiting for snow. Kids and grown-ups alike. I don't wanna be riding my bike this time tomorrow. The weatherman says it's a go, but look in the sky, I don't know. Santa, can you please make it snow tomorrow? 'Cause for Christmas Day, everything should be white, all glistening and brightly aglow. For Christmas Day, Santa, won't you make it so I can make angels in the snow? Conditions are perfectly cold, so come on already. Truth be told, it's really too much to be asking for. Now look at the sky and give me just one reason why, Santa, you can make it snow tomorrow. 'Cause for Christmas Day.
Hello. It's much later than I thought it was going to be to update you. It's currently 10 to 5, but I've been doing some things around the house as well. So I am a fair way into this. I'm about 100 pages in. It's on chapter 10. I absolutely love this. This is amazing. The first chapter really, really grabs you straight off the bat. Like, I read the first chapter in literally a couple of minutes because I was like, oh my gosh. You know, it was one of them where you really want to know what's happening, like, straight away. So it was really good. And so I did part of it. I read probably like 3 chapters of the physical book, and then I was like just doing stuff and milling about. So I used the audiobook for probably another, say, 5 chapters, and then I read a couple more chapters. I did have like a half an hour nap because, like I said earlier, I had 5 hours sleep and I'd already read The Snow Queen, and then I'd like read 100 pages of this. So I'm currently up to about 140 pages of reading today, which I know doesn't seem a lot, seems as like I've nearly been up 12 hours, but the one thing that happened to me last time was that I did loads of reading right at the beginning and then I got really burnt out and then didn't really read anymore. So this time I'm like trying to pace myself a little bit, and I think I said before I'm going to save The Christmas Carol to later tonight. So I don't actually know if I'll get to Christmas at Tiffany's. I kind of want to at least just start that, but if I could have obviously finished The Snow Queen, this, and A Christmas Carol today, I'd be well happy. And then if I could just start Christmas at Tiffany's, that'd be great. If you can hear tapping, Simba's like washing his face, which means he taps his paw on the floor as he's doing it. Gosh, where to even start? So much has happened already. Basically, you're thrown straight into action at the beginning as this group of kids have been playing ball, and they live far out in the coldest part of the monster-infested snow sea. And straight away you're told that they're not supposed to go on the snow, but their ball has gone out into the snow. So they're all having this debate about who's going to go and fetch the ball. So you're thrown straight into this kind of obstacle straight away. The reason being that there are monsters that called lurkers, as it turns out, that lurk underneath the snow. So it is a risk for any of them to go out onto the snow to fetch that ball. So they're all debating on who's going to go. And it ends up a boy called Reese, I think. R-Y-S-E, I believe. Yeah, Reese or Rice. I think it's Reese. He ends up going and he gets to the ball, and it's really, really well written because you can you're holding your breath along with these kids, because these kids are like, you know, they're like waiting with bated breath, you know, waiting for something to happen and waiting for him to get back safely, and you really feel that when you're reading. And so he gets to the ball, they're like, oh, he's gonna make it, and he's running back, and as you can imagine, as he gets to where they think, whew, some lurkers come out the snow, and we're in a peril situation straight away in the first chapter. Talking about grabbing a kid's attention, because obviously this is a middle grade. So he gets surrounded basically, and they're part of the Fira, I think it's Fira people, and they live on these, I'm trying to find a picture, they live on these things on stilts because this is such a monster infested area. Oh, strongholds. They're called strongholds that they live at. And so the kind of they're all like trained hunters, and so the hunters up at the battlements notice this situation and the monsters, and so obviously a battle commences and the kids are trying to run to safety, and the main protagonist, Ash, kind of hangs back with his hand out for Reese, and they try and scramble up this like wooden staircase, and the staircase is collapsing, and you get the whole bit where the friend is hanging off the side of the thing, and it's very action-packed, and this is all in the first chapter. And so we've learnt quite a lot in terms of like the world building. I kind of wish I was tabbing this actually, because for a middle grade already in the first 100 pages you've learnt so much about this world. So there's things called pathfinders who are fearless traders and the last hope of humankin, and they work to connect the strongholds and, you know, keep some sort of unified civilization going. But in this whole commotion, and his parents were pathfinders, his parents disappeared, so he has been looked after by a guardian ever since, and he's gone through quite a few guardians because there's a whole thing of that his people are actually scared of him, because they suspect he's something called a song weaver. And a song weaver is someone who can communicate with these creatures, because these creatures sing as they're attacking, and he can understand them, and he keeps getting this urge to sing, and he gets this urge when he's in a really perilous situation with his friend hanging over the side and the thing's like snapping up at him. He gets this urge to sing. He doesn't, because music has been banned, because I think we learned that the last song weaver you know, put the stronghold in jeopardy, things like that, because he was influenced by the monsters, because the whole kind of rumour is that song weavers can be corrupted by the monsters because the communication goes both ways. Song weavers can understand them, so they can understand the song weavers, so they can communicate. And the worry and the fear is that the monsters can bend the song weavers to their will, which they believe happened to this previous song weaver. So music is banned. There's even a festival where they're doing like a fire dance to no music. They're just dancing to the fluttering of the flames and stuff like that. So straight away you get the fact that for all intents and purposes he's an orphan. No one seems to know what happened to his parents. They haven't been referred to, as far as I remember, as being dead. I don't think. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure it said that they just disappeared. And so for all intents and purposes, he's an orphan. He's also an outsider because he's kind of treated differently because of this whole song weaver thing. But he does seem to have a group of friends, and his current guardian is what's his name? Tobu, and he's a yeti. He's got a yeti guardian who's training him and everything, because the previous guardian gave him up when he sang once, and saying that she couldn't risk her family, so she can no longer have him in the house. And the leader of the people, the alderman, was kind of running out of options, and the Yeti himself is an outsider in this town because he's come to live there from elsewhere, and he was welcomed and everything, but he's an outsider, so it kind of falls to him to be the guardian for Ash. We've just gone through another kind of action scene when some pathfinders, who don't come to this particular stronghold very often because they're out in the middle of nowhere, are travelling across the snow in their sleigh, and they are being pursued by some monsters, slightly different ones called hurtlers. And while the lurkers kind of navigate under the snow and kind of pop up, hurtlers don't need to do that because they're fast and they just give chase, basically. So there's this big chase scene with these hurtlers and this sleigh, and they don't think they're going to make it. Everyone's on the battlements watching, and the hunters are firing arrows and things like that, trying to help them out, sort of thing. And when the moment when you think all is lost and they're going to lose this, you know, they're not going to come out of this, Ash decides to sing. Now, he's just been at a festival with a mask on because there was an incident previously where he'd like nearly sung or whatever, and so Toby was like, you need to like not go into the town for a little bit, like just chill, basically, because people are like upset and worried and blah blah blah. But he really wants to go to this festival, so everyone wears masks for it anyway, so he puts his mask on and goes for this festival, meets up with his friends there, and then this all happens. And then he, at the very last sort of second, when you think that the sleigh's going to be overtaken by the monsters, he starts singing, and then the town starts going mad, and he gets tackled by some hunters. Toby stands up for him, and you know, saying he's just a child, blah blah blah. And there's basically talk of exiling him because the alderman says, look, I can't risk the people of my stronghold, you know, etc. And then the pathfinders come up and wanting to talk to the person that saved them, and the alderman tries to say, oh, it's our hunters, you know, our valiant archers and whatever, and they're like, and while we appreciate their efforts, it's the person who was singing that we want to talk to, sort of thing. So that's where I'm up to, where the pathfinders are actually like happy that there was someone to sing, because the singing calmed down the monsters, that's the thing. So they were able to break ground and get to safety. So anyway, that's where I'm up to. Then that's only 100 pages, and I've probably missed loads as well. Loads has happened. So if you're looking for a book that's really going to keep your attention, really going to keep you wanting to read more, if you really want a hard to put down book that's a middle grade, so it's kind of, you know, whimsical and magical and action-packed over the holidays, I cannot recommend this enough. And I'm only 100 pages in. There's a reason that this is Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin's favourite book. I can understand why. Like, it's really good. It's going to be a firm favourite, I think. And like the illustrations in it are just like incredible. So I don't want to do too much on audio with this, and if I do, I want to read along, because I really, really want to be like taken along in this story by the illustrations as well, because the illustrations are so good. But anyway, this is going to take some editing. This is another 20-minute clip. I'll update you in a bit. I've just finished Frostheart. Wow, that was so good. I did listen to most of it on audiobook in the end because I was making some, I was doing some crafting, I was making some clay decorations and I got really into it, so I continue with the audiobook. So I do want to go back through and not necessarily reread it straight away. Is this focused? Not necessarily reread it straight away, but I do really want to go through and like flick through the illustrations. That was so amazing. I don't know what I can say after the point that I talked to you before that won't spoil it, but basically you learn that Frostheart is the sleigh, it's the name of the sleigh. And after that whole debacle with him singing, he does end up actually going with the Pathfinders that he's just saved on this journey. So a lot of the rest of the book is set aboard the Frostheart, and he learns that this lullaby that his parents used to sing to him is the key to finding them. It's different parts of this lullaby are going to reveal a map, and he comes across different creatures that give him different clues to add on to this lullaby. And there's all sorts of kind of conflict and mistrust in the relationships that he's made, because he goes through some parts where he's not sure who to trust or who to listen to, because he comes across a creature that gives him a clue which suggests that someone that he's currently close to is not what they seem, and obviously that is all revealed, but I'm not going to go into too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who may want to read it. And it's very coming of age, because obviously he's found out that he's this song weaver, and he's along the journey he's learning what that means and why song weavers have got the reputation that they've got, and why they're feared. And he learns more about the monsters, more about the humans, more about Tobu, his Yeti guardian, and it's just really action packed. Like in the end, I was listening to it on 2.5 speed, which is quite fast, but it kind of fit because the whole thing was so fast paced anyway. It was really good. So just like The Christmas Saurus by Tom Fletcher, I highly recommend this book. I really, really want to get the second one now, because the second one, as far as I understand, picks up straight away where this left off. So it's really good because it's almost got like a pirate vibe about it, because it's a ragtag crew on this sleigh, and who's training and learning and growing, and some bad decisions are made, and so there's the whole dealing with that and the resolution that comes from that, and it's just so good. I'm like really tired at this point because it is midnight now, and I've not read Christmas Carol yet. I think I'm gonna try and read at least a bit of that now. So currently, with the Snow Queen this morning and this, I'm currently on like 480 pages read. I know a lot of people do a lot more than that. But there was a period this morning where I didn't read that much, and I just don't know how people read so fast. So anyway, I have brought A Christmas Carol in with me. It's actually only 66 pages, but it's very small text, and I am very tired now. I'm gonna start reading this. I may even find an audiobook for it, I don't know. So what I will do is, because I've not started this yet and I'm likely to just fall asleep whilst I'm reading it, I will jump back on and end the vlog in the morning and let you know how I got on.